Good afternoon, AMP family, AMP community. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to, another daily analysis. We are now in the month of June, June 1st. Wow, it's crazy how time flies. But yeah, man, I've been a little late this morning. I try to get things done, as early as possible. Just because I am a working man. I'm not living completely off of crypto, but trading is my passion. I love to look at the charts. I think that for anybody that has a skill or a niche, just take as much time as you can just mastering that craft and having fun with it. That's definitely what I've been doing, especially with these charts. And that kind of brings me to what I wanted to share with y'all. Just some of the things that I've been learning about supply, demand, Wyckoff distributions and accumulations, and composite operators, right? Like the people who actually make these markets, and just understanding how smart money operates in markets that tend to have value for them, right? And understanding when smart money is in a particular market. And I think it's pretty obvious that, smart money is in AMP. And we can see that from some of these huge sell-offs that we have here, right? That is not necessarily all of retail. Retail doesn't have that much influence and power to really move the markets down in this sort of fashion, right? This just goes to show that, this downfall, we saw what happened with Bitcoin around this time, but this also means that there is more supply than demand, right? When there is less supply than demand, we see these huge moves to the upside. But when the opposite is true, we see these massive moves to the downside. So, just hopping right into our analysis off of that tangent, we can see that we are still, respecting the pullback from the falling wedge, as well as our trend line, right? We are respecting this tremendously, right? And just understanding the psychology behind this, right? These tests at the 0.055 and 0.056 levels are, tests by people of influence within the market, right? They're testing to see if support is strong, right? They're testing to see if all of the weak hands are out. They're testing to see if, this is the line of preliminary support before we can move up to the upside, right? So, I think that the fact that we are respecting this and we have so many touches across it, right? Like if we just put our mouse here, or better yet, we can, draw a line, right? Let's turn my magnet on, can draw a line at our support levels right here. And let's just, count how many times we've hit that. Going back to, June, the beginning of June, we've hit it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times today. 8 times today. In the month of June, we've hit this support line 8 times. I think that this is building up a huge bullish case for, continued momentum to the upside. But, time will tell. I think that we just have to be a little bit patient and see what happens tomorrow or over the next couple of days. And, there's a huge potential that we may very well form what I will call a huge ascending triangle, where we kind of just move sideways gradually up to our previous support line that's now resistance of 0.074, right? We may just move slowly over the course of these days, right? All the way until possibly July 28th, right? That's when this ascending triangle structure ends. So if we do continue to move sideways, for a little bit, or gradually like this, right, which would be really healthy, we could possibly do this up and down sort of motion until, July 28th. So very possible, but we shall see. We will let the market do its thing, and we will hold strong, right? Our technicals haven't been broken or anything like that, especially on the daily. I have to emphasize that the daily is, one of the strongest time frames. And the fact that our technicals are getting respected is a really good sign. So if we do go up, we know where our target price is for our next stop, the 0.074 mark. If, which is a strong if we do break to the downside, there's a strong chance of a retest back to our trend. If not, then we already know that we should come down to our previous support at the 0.038 mark. Hopping right into the 4-hour chart. It's pretty boring in my opinion, but this is the exciting part, as we see this huge, massive buying volume here, which is on June 22nd. This is letting us know that smart money is buying the dip, and in combination with retail, right? We have this automatic reaction after this selling climax, and then we have these tests, this test all along the 0.055 and 0.056 mark, right? Which is letting us know that okay, we are finding a floor, and we are possibly preparing for a move either to the upside or to the downside. Again, we will see. Just have to check your biases when it does come to understanding the technicals of the market and things like that. Regardless of the harmonic patterns that we're spotting, regardless of the trend lines that we're drawing, I think that it's always good to just understand your bias and call a spade, right? Until you have your confirmations. I know that we have our confirmations, but I'm going to always say let's see what the market does. Regardless, when I have my case built. So last but not least, taking a look at the 1-hour chart, we can see that we are slightly below our trend line. If we zoom in here, right, we have our trend line that expands on the daily as well as on the weekly. We are slightly below it here, but it's healthy in my opinion. We are still testing again the 0.055 and 0.056 mark. If you don't believe this is, the floor price or our support, by all means, you are entitled to your own opinion, just like I'm entitled to mine. But, we haven't broken this yet. And, just understanding how the market moves and, what smart money and smart traders are doing. We're being tested, right? This is the psychology of the market. We are being tested. And I think that AMP is doing a great job, showing the smart money and showing the composite operators that the last of the weak hands may be out. So, us showing that to them makes them feel confident to jump into markets a little bit more, right? And I know that some people were asking, how did I get to a measured move of 26 cents? If we can break out of this ascending triangle. Well, I'm going to show you, right? Let's go back in history and show y'all how we did this measured move for this bullish butterfly that we spotted on the 4-hour in the beginning of June, right? So you always want to start from where the market structure starts. So I will go over to my indicator, and I will click on price range and turn on my magnet, and I'll start from the bottom of this candle, the bottom of that wick, and then I'll go up to where the previous high was, right? Measuring that price range is 50%, right? So that is the opening of that structure. Normally, when we have confirmations of these patterns forming at the bottom, we know that it will get above the previous resistance where the market turned, right, where smart money sold. We'll get above that, and then we'll close and flip that previous resistance as support. And we should have a measured move somewhere around the same percentage as the opening of the market structure, right? So the opening of this market structure was a 50% increase, right? Now, if we wanted to go 50% above where we flip this resistance support, that will land us up here around 12 cents. And again, I will bring out my measurement tool. I will start at the top of this resistance point that will soon be support. and I'll go up 50%, right? I'm not going to take the same 50% at that price range that we were at, because the bottom of here is, 5 cents. So that 50% move was up to what we have here, a high of 7 cents, right? We don't want that. There's a huge price difference. We want to go 50% from a high of 7 cents, not a not a low of 5 cents. So by doing that, right, we're able to sort of measure our movement, right? How far we could possibly go. And, this measured movement brought us to 11 cents, but, we went a little bit higher to 12 cents. But again, we're spot on, right? We can do the same thing with this, and I'll do the same thing, right? So again, I'll take my measurement tool, come over to the high of this. This was 120% gain, right? If we want to go up 120% from the top of this, right, this resistance point, 120% would put us right at 26 cents. So, this is how you perform measured moves, right? Areas that was previously resistance, flip support, you go up by the same percentage. And it's as simple as that, y'all. So this is why I say that once we do see, bullish movement to the upside of this, and then we go up to retest our previous high, the next move will be a measured move of 120%, possibly, right? I am not a genie. I'm not granting anybody's wishes. I can't predict the future, but, I can only be as technical and non-emotional as possible when it does come to these charts, right? So that's what we can expect for AMP, and that may very well play out. But, hopping into the news for AMP, AMP has done it again. We can find AMP inside of beingcrypto.com, right? They were spotted again as one of the top 10 altcoin performers for the month of June, with Quant being the leader, but AMP right behind it, gaining 50% in June and closing with a new all-time high at June 16th, right? They also do some technical analysis for anybody that's interested in that. But they are not the only news outlet covering AMP. We also can find AMP inside of equitymasters.com. So AMP is getting a lot of exposure, not only from the news side, but, from the DeFi world side also, right? You can find the tweet for anybody that didn't know. You can now use AMP as collateral on Ruler protocol. Ruler is a DeFi protocol for, lending and borrowing, very similar to Aave and Compound, where you can not only earn AMP by using it as collateral on Ruler, but they're offering to give out X Rulers for folks who provide AMP as collateral on their protocol. So if you're interested, head on over to Ruler protocol or AMP's Twitter to learn more about this. But all in all said, just I think we just have to be patient, right? We can perform as many measured moves as we want, but again, we just have to really just understand what's going on in the markets and understand what AMP is positioned to do as it continues to just make crypto more mainstream. Mass adoption and network utilization is really the true value of AMP. So continue to be patient, continue to stay strong. These are prime buying levels in my opinion. I think this is probably the low that AMP will ever go. I could be wrong though, this is my personal opinion, but for those who understand the payment space, I think that, we are highly in the undervalued position. So if you guys all like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments, and also leave tips if you feel like it. But, this will continue to go on. So until tomorrow, peace out and stay strong.